Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Ace and I got more TF2 commentary playing as a scout on Man vs Machine. And this is the normal mode. And I am going to talk a little bit about the scout and its place in the normal mode as well as the man up mode. And unfortunately, it's not something I'm happy to speak about. Actually, it's quite sad that I have to say that just like the sniper, the scout doesn't have a good effective spot in the man up mode, but we'll get there in this video. Because in the normal mode, it doesn't really matter what you play. The normal mode is easy. Actually, it's a joke. It's not even a hard. If you have a reasonable group with at least one or two reasonable people with a reasonable amount of skill, with a reasonable loadout, you will have a laugh. It's a joke. It's not even funny, actually. You will not have a laugh because it's not funny. And of course, you're not going to go to the extremes of having 6 people with rocket jumpers and then market garners, because that's also not effective. But the normal mode is just too easy, and a scout can really do crazy stuff within it, because one of the abilities that the scout has is picking up money from a bigger range than other people potentially can. And with that picking up of money, they can heal themselves as well as overheal themselves, which does also cause some issues, which you can actually see that in this gameplay, because after several requests, my team still decided, or the vast majority of my team still decided, to not let me pick up the money. The money is shared, guys. You don't have to pick up the money, and if the scout specifically asks to pick up the money, you want him to pick up the money, because not only is he faster, it also allows him to be healed as well as overheal, which actually means you have a very fast potential tank. The problem with that is, though, he can only go in if there is already money on the ground. So you have to do some kills before you can actually jump in and not immediately die. Which also makes it a lot harder for a scout to be effective from close range in the man up mode, because beyond wave 2 or 3 you will find yourself in constant waves of basically projectile users. May it be demo, may it be soldiers or the giant versions of them. And due to the massive amount of bots in the man up mode with these projectiles, a scout is just completely rendered useless. You can only throw your mad milk, even if you upgrade your mad milk with the slow and the recharge rate. It's just not effective enough to make sure that you lay in enough firepower with your scatter gun, because you can't get close. And your sentiment is quite useless unless you are just fighting against small bots, because you can't stun the priority targets, the giants, nor can you apply, well, you can apply the mark of death on top of them, with of course the Sandman. But in addition to that, that's pretty much where it stops. And if you have other people using crits constantly and such, your mark of death is really not that effective, unless you really have a really hard time to keeping up your crits or use the buff banners and such, which actually should be a thing. Like, buff banner is amazing in the man up mode, but that's besides the point. So with the problem of the scout being a close range user and having all these anti-close range bots against your face with all their projectiles, the rocket, the explosions, you just can't rely on staying alive from that close of a range. And since you don't have a long range weapon that is effective in killing a large amount of mobs, you can't really be effective at all. You are a soldier with the buff banner, and the regular rocket launcher is going to be way more useful to its team and way more effective in killing bots. And even if you go heavy and engineer, which are actually required classes for the standard setup, as well as the engineer and the medic, you are just going to be so much more useful. And the scout just can't keep up with that. The mad milk is nice to slow targets, and it's very nice that you can heal or allow your team to heal by applying your mad milk, or your Girardi if you're playing a sniper, for example, with the mini crit stand. But it's just not enough to pull your weight in the man up mode. That's my experience, at least, and especially with the fact that you will most likely end up pubbing or pugging. You will find yourself, of course, being forced into that role, because due to the lack of synchronization and communication in your team, you also have that lack of that, or you don't have that advantage, basically. But if you are going to play with people you know that are good people, like let's say we are all using our max amount of skill with the max amount of good loadouts, that is actually not a good sentence, but we'll go with it. you of course can build a tactic that allows for a scout to be required, to be useful. Same thing for a sniper. I'm not saying that the scout is bad overall, because absolutely not. A scout can do a lot of damage on a single target. He just is going to be very squishy and most likely will die quite a bit, and for most waves is going to be very useless. But if you're going to build your tactic around a scout, or take it heavily into consideration, with the combination of good communication and good people on your team that you know and can rely on, of course you then can of course use a scout or a sniper if so desired. It's just that in a general sense a scout is just not good. Absolutely not. The scout in the man-up mode is the equivalent of the Neon Annihilator for the Pyro. It's useful if you're underwater, but that's about it. It's very situational for a scout to be useful, and in most waves you just can't do a whole lot. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Maybe they will change, maybe my opinion will change, but right now I don't think that is going to be the case. Anyway, let me know what you think. And we are about to win here. This is the last kill we have to make, and we are about to destroy it, and there we go. Victory achieved on the normal mode as a scout. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.